Jenny from 90 Day Fiance might be getting kicked out of India because Sumit still refuses to marry her. Guys, 90 Day Fiance the other way is finally here, and it's looking unbelievable. So much stuff went down that I'm going to get into in a couple of minutes. But first, we have to talk about the situation with Jenny and Sumit because it is just unbelievable. The season starts off where basically we knew where Jenny and Sumit are at. Sumit did everything. He got the divorce, he told his parents, and he still sits there and refuses to marry Jenny. And it hasn't been that big of an issue because the borders have been closed and they really weren't they weren't making Jenny leave, so Jenny just kept renewing her visa for the time being, and that was the big issue why she needed to marry Sumit, was so she could just permanently live in India. But because of the borders being closed, she kept being able to renew her visa. However, she got a feeling that she might be having to leave soon if they don't do something like get married, and they ended up meeting up with Sumit's astrologer, and he was just saying no, don't rush it. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Just do not rush anything. And then magically about a day later, guess what happens? Yes, Jenny got an email from the border people saying your visa has expired, you cannot renew it, and you're going to have to leave. And so what does Sumit do? Sumit calls, now this is just the funniest, dumbest, strangest thing I have ever seen. He calls a travel agent and says, hey, can we leave the country? Can we go to Nepal? And he just says, no, you can't go there. Their borders are closed. And so Sumit was trying to figure out where can they go, what can they do, and then he goes, by the way, are there any countries where people from India, like himself, can go without having a passport? And the guy just said, no, absolutely not. Besides Nepal, there's 0 countries you can go to. And the guy was just like, well, why? And he goes, well, I don't have a passport. Sumit, yes, the Sumit we all know, he does not even have a passport. He claims that his ex-wife's parents stole it and took it, and it's like, well, I don't know what's going on in India, so I really can't comment, but here in America, if you lose your passport, you can go, I don't even know, to Secretary of State or something and get another one. So I'm kind of like, really? It just doesn't seem true. It doesn't seem fake. And I really am at a point now where I really do believe that if Sumit wanted to marry Jenny, this has nothing to do with the parents. It has nothing to do with the ex-wife or the passport or the nothing. If he wanted to marry her, you guys, I'm telling you, he would have married her. So now Jenny might have to leave. Now, they weren't really saying dates. I don't know if it's in a couple of days or a couple weeks or a couple months. They didn't say how long she has until she has to either leave the country or get married. So the time is definitely ticking though, because she did get an email and she was freaking out. And she did say, I've done this 3 other times. I am not going to leave you and come back again. If I leave, we're over, it's done. And I don't blame her whatsoever. Now, the funny thing is, in present day, they are together somewhere. There have been rumors that they were spotted in, well, no. There have been rumors that they weren't spotted, but that there were pictures taken of them that appeared to be in America. I don't even know how they would have finagled that one if they did come to America, so I have no idea if that's true. Maybe they did go to a different country and that's where they're living at now. I really just don't know. They are likely almost 100% still together, but if they are still in India, that's the question I do not know. And if Sumit still refuses to marry Jenny and she actually gets deported and has to leave India, I mean, it's like this guy is just bottom of the barrel. So I'll keep y'all posted on what ends up happening with Jenny if she does get deported from India or not. But for the rest of Jenny and Sumit, that was basically it. They're just talking about marriage. They met with the astrologer. They're trying to make this whole thing work. He was giving them advice on their relationship. Jenny didn't believe it. Sumit has been going there his entire life to this guy, which is no judging. I'm just saying it was kind of interesting to see. They don't really see eye to eye on that at all, but it was kind of interesting, kind of cool. And that was basically about it for those two. More on them in a minute. Now I want to go over to a new couple. Her name is Ellie. His name is Victor. And oh my God, this is actually looking pretty unbelievably good. It was one of those situations where I kind of feel bad for the person. I kind of just feel like weird and odd. Here's the deal. Ellie, she's a business owner in Seattle, Washington. She owns a pizza place. She seems to be pretty successful. She was actually married to a guy who was happy, lovey. He was in love with her. He was obsessed with her. And sadly, he did end up passing away in his sleep. It was very sad. Very emotional for her to tell that story. And so she was starting anew. She's been single, without him for quite some time. And she just got lonely and bored. And so she met this man named Victor. It was just on a trip. They ended up meeting. They hit it off. And one thing led to another. She was getting ready to leave a couple days later. And he just says, you can't leave me. And so she ended up extending her trip for another 2 weeks. And it was just the rest is history. So it kind of sounds pretty good on the surface, and everything sounded like it was pretty much sunshine and rainbows for the most part. They were trying to get, Victor to come to America, but then of course the pandemic hit, so now she is going to be going to him. But here's where it kind of got interesting, because we did get to see one of her friends talk about the relationship and talk about the two of them, and she just spilled the beans and said, listen, she got cheated on. So yes, Ellie got cheated on by Victor. Ellie never mentioned it, Victor never mentioned it, and then when when the friend said it, then Ellie kind of started talking about it briefly. But what happened, according to Ellie, was they were dating for a couple of months, and a woman actually messaged Ellie and said, listen, I'm with Victor, he's my man, he's living with me, here are our texts, here are our pictures. And at first, I guess Ellie just approached Victor and said, hey, this woman has texted me, are you dating someone else, are you with anyone else? And he just said, no, 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 no. And then she shared all the texts and the screenshots and the proof, and that's when Victor just completely, he didn't deny it, but he said, okay, yeah, but she tricked me, and she's using me, and she's forcing me. And to me, when I heard that, I was like, that is the lowest of the low of the low excuses. That is the lowest excuse you can go with. If he would have just been man enough to say, you know what, yeah, I did cheat, and I'm sorry, and I made a big mistake, and here's the truth. He never even said the truth. He just said that she tricked me and she's forcing me, and it's like, what are you talking about? The weird thing, kind of the sad thing, is Ellie, she wasn't really too terribly, she was definitely upset, but she wasn't too mad or anything. She was more so just like, I forgave him, we're gonna move on, we're gonna make this work. But it's like, for all she knows, he could still have a girlfriend. So it is sad, it is unfortunate. I kind of feel like her losing her husband and being lonely, and I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with this whole situation. It is very unfortunate. I do feel bad for her, and we're going to have to wait and see what actually happens with these two. It'll be kind of crazy to see. But at least for me, I can say at the first glance, after hearing that cheating story, I'm not a huge fan of Victor. But the thing I kind of find interesting about Ellie is typically on 90 Day Fiancé the other way, and nothing against Jenny or any other couples, but typically if they do move, they have minor belongings, and they have a little job, and it's not a big, huge deal. They sell off their stuff, they little of this, little of that, and they move, and it's not that big of a deal. I will say for Ellie though, she has that pizza restaurant, she has a real life, real things, and she is literally, according to what she said on the show, she's getting rid of everything. Now, I don't know if she's just because she has this partner, kind of a higher up employee at the restaurant, and I don't know if she's just handing it to him, or if he's gonna be buying it, or if she's gonna be a co-owner. I have no idea. She didn't really specify what the actual details are, but she did say he's taking everything over. I think she said she's even selling her house. So it's everything is going away. It's pretty just unbelievable and crazy. And then the other new couple we got to see is Steven and Alina, and they're kind of an interesting story. He is from Utah, she is from Russia. They met through this language app kind of thing. They really just hit it off from the start, and they've been talking, and they ended up actually meeting up. And basically, he was gonna go live in Russia, but because of the pandemic, he couldn't go over there. So now they're gonna go meet up in Turkey and live and try to just do their own thing. See, this is what I meant earlier when I said that Ellie has a real life and she has a business. This guy, nothing against him, but he didn't really have a job. He was kind of selling door to door, and nothing against selling. I even sold door to door. It's not that's not a job. He even did say he had this job and that job, and he's kind of just bouncing around trying to see what feels right for him. So I'm kind of curious, what are they going to do for money? Because he obviously can't do that job remotely. So I have no idea what's going to go down with that. It's kind of interesting, it'll be interesting to see what they end up trying to do for money, if they're just going to live off the show, or exactly what is going to go down with that. But yes, they're going to Turkey. They have met before. Her mom came. They seem to really hit it off, and it was just love at first sight, and they're doing pretty well. The money thing will be weird, and the other thing will be kind of weird too is he is Mormon, and he's very, very, very strict with his religion, which is great for him, but she's not really into it. And he kind of did say that he's been hiding some things about the religion to her, which is stupid, because it's she could just Google more about the Mormon religion for herself and know all about it. So I don't really know what he meant by that, but I think he was kind of saying she was nervous about this religion and how serious and strict it is, and he was saying he's kind of been hiding some things about it. But like I just said, well, I mean, you know, she has Google, so I don't really know what he's talking about. But either way, apparently that's going to be the big thing. But they are going to Turkey, and we have seen that they do go to Turkey. And then from there, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. And then we got to see an old couple who I kind of find very interesting, and that is Ariela and Biniyam. And something about them, like they're a cute couple. They're very odd, and interesting, and weird, and I kind of felt some type of way watching their segment. Here is the deal. Ari, if you don't know, and she kept it very quiet in season 1, but she was married before. She was, it's a whole long story. She was young, she met this man, they fell in love. After a couple months, they got married. They were together for like 10 years, and I never really knew exactly why they got a divorce. And in her first season, to me, as far as I can remember, she didn't really mention the guy a whole lot, but now she's just talking about the guy 24/7. And she said that she, you know, still loves him as a friend, like a brother-sister thing, which is, to me, I've heard of people talk about this, where, you know, someone, they get married, they become very good friends, but they kind of just grow apart, and they're, you know, and they end up getting a divorce, but they stay very good friends. So I know this is possible, and I know it could be possible and not weird, but to me, as jealous as I am, I would just feel some type of way if I was Biniyam, because it is kind of strange. It is kind of odd. She kept using the L word. She kept saying that she still loves him, and I get it. She loves him as a friend. It doesn't have to be weird or anything, but it is just kind of like, it's just kind of like odd. So they are still good friends. And the thing that I think is odd for me, I will say, is she would never really specify, why did they break up? Did she cheat? Did he cheat? All she said was he wanted to go to school, she wanted to travel, they grew apart, and they got a divorce. And if they just took the marriage as such a casual thing, then I guess it's not that big of a deal, but it's like, wouldn't you have tried to kind of make it work? So I don't know if something else happened and she didn't really want to say. Maybe she cheated, like I really have no idea, but he seems to be happy, and this guy, her ex-husband, is actually coming to Ethiopia to visit her and the baby and Biniyam, which is just like, isn't that weird? But we got to see him FaceTime, you know, Ari, and they were just joking around, and I guess they have like this brother-sister bond, which is kind of odd to say, but they seem happy and they're friends, and Biniyam definitely seemed incredibly jealous, which is kind of sad, but it's also kind of karma, because he was definitely had some lady friends too, so now it's kind of like, you know, now he can see both sides at least, and see why that made Ari uncomfortable and self-conscious and whatnot too. So it's just a weird situation. I don't know how this is going to go down. They definitely just appear to be friends. Like, I don't think anything's actually going to happen with this guy and Ari, but it is just kind of like an uncomfortable situation, at least to me, to watch. But comment below what you guys think. Yeah, I mean, all I can say is I would not want to be in Biniyam's shoes. That's weird. Like, I don't know. And I guess the thing I would say too is, you know what? You have this guy, he wants to visit. To me, if I was Biniyam, I would say that's great. I'm happy to meet him. I'm happy to hang out with him. I'm happy to, you know, get to know him if you're that good of friends with him. But I would probably draw a line at him staying with them, because isn't that just like, it's just kind of odd. Like, it's an ex. They weren't together for like 10 days. It was 10 years. That is just kind of strange, kind of uncomfortable, kind of weird. But maybe that's just me and I'm just an idiot. I don't really know. But yeah, it seems kind of just strange to me. And last but not least, I think last but not least, is we got to see Corey and Evelin. Whatever. That's all I have to say for these people. Whatever. I really don't even care. We got to see their whole long history of them, you know, how they met and how they got together and how she left and then he left and this and that. And basically, they were up and down a ton. Then the pandemic kind of brought them closer together, kind of, because he was trapped there with her. And now they're doing, I guess they're okay now. When I watch them, the only thing I can think of is just one thing and one thing only. That they want to be together and they want to do this whole thing for the show so they can get some fame, and that's about it. And I know that probably sounds rude, but that is just how I see this whole thing with these two. It's kind of tough for me to even watch. They really don't even seem like they're even really together, but now I guess they're apparently going to get married. Maybe they're together, maybe they're not. I've always heard back and forth on that whole situation, so I really don't even have a comment. But at least on the show on 90 Day Fiance, they're together. We got to see Corey with her family. They love him, besides her sister. Her sister cannot stand him. He had a little bit of a drama. He like went to Peru, met this other girl, and he was kind of seeing her for a couple weeks. It was nothing very serious. I don't know, they weren't together though, so honestly, it's kind of like, well, you know, she did dump him, so what's the big deal? But I kind of get it. I kind of see both sides. I don't think he really cheated because they did break up, but maybe there was more to the story. Don't really know. Corey and Evelyn, though, seems kind of fake, kind of scripted, kind of boring, and just kind of stupid. And the last couple we did not get to see would be Kenny and Armando. They were not on the episode, but they are going to be on this season of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, and it should be pretty good. So guys, 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, it was a very good first episode for me. I'm excited about these two new couples, mainly more so Ellie and Victor. Steven and, you know, Alina, whatever, they seem interesting, but they're kind of young, I think that'll be kind of odd and just kind of weird to see, and they likely won't go anywhere because they are so young, but I could be wrong, maybe they will. But Ellie and Victor, I don't think they're going to work either, but it is kind of interesting to see, and just how she's leaving her whole entire life, and how he cheated, and that whole backstory, kind of sad, but also kind of interesting, and going to be fun to watch. And for the other couples, it's going to be very fun, minus, now Corey and Evelyn, I don't have a hate or anything for them, it's just, they don't really excite me, they don't really interest me, so I'm kind of just like, you know, whatever. Take the remote and just keep on skipping through. Well, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, the share button, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.